something like 4% of CEOs actually trust that their people are doing the work that they're being paid to do. That means 96% of the market out there don't trust what's going on.
Happy this afternoon to have my friend Brandon Snyder join us. Brandon and I just reconnected at the September EPI Vision Alignment event, and had met previously at the summit in May, and just enjoyed talking to him and wanted to get him on and let everybody else meet him and learn more about 90.io today. So thanks for joining us, Brandon.
Andrew, I am humbled and honored to be here, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, listen, start us up by your entrepreneurial story. Like 90 is as a EOSI, I've known of 90 for quite a while. It's a very cool software company. But how'd you end up with 90? How'd you get here today?
Yeah, I'm going to do this in 2 minutes, I promise. So I fell in love with the game of business like in the middle of college. I remember doing my first paid like gig. Like somebody actually paid me to do something I loved. Like I transitioned from working jobs at like restaurants and factories that I just like hated and then the work sucked. I did something that I really like to do and somebody actually paid me money.
Did you do it?
And I remember I called my dad. I was like, Dad, I convinced this doctor to pay me some money to create this video asset for him. And he said, son, like you're now a professional. Like congratulations. And I was bit by the game of business and I fell in love with it from an early age. So right out of college, or actually in college, I started a video production company with some buddies. Awesome little lifestyle business, taught me a lot. Ran that for 7 or 8 years or something like that. And in that journey, Andrew, I learned that I'm a revenue guy. Like I suck at creative. Like I was not good at actually making the thing, but I was damn good at figuring out like big picture relationships and figuring out how to drive revenue and run the business. So I learned early on that that's my superpower. Funny enough, in the conversation we're going to have today, with exiting, I got hit by one of the 5 Ds, which was disagreement. Right. So I had a vision for where I wanted to take the firm, and the other partners of mine didn't share that same vision. So I gracefully bowed out, and I chose to go kind of be a solopreneur / freelancer for a little bit. Okay. I was really learning digital marketing and sales in the early world of digital. So I had a couple mentors that farmed out some projects to me, and I did that for a while, and I learned a lot. One of the things I learned was how to intentionally ask for referrals from my connector network in a process. So I was really good at harvesting referral-based, net new leads and turning those into customers. And I got exposed to EOS when I was working at an IT company, and it was just a disaster. And if you're listening, leadership team, you know who you are. I'm sorry, love you guys, but it was a rough journey for a while. But we implemented EOS in that company, and it went from being a place that frankly sucked to work at, and it was just really hard. There was a lot of politics, just unhealthy. And EOS as that framework really turned the leadership around, it turned the culture around. The people were happier, healthier, and I was like, man, that's dope. So I started doing my referral process for EOS implementers. Like that's because I was like, man, I want to help you propagate more of that in the world because that literally changed my life. So yes. I had a firm called Revenue Traction Group. We did lead gen and appointment setting for EOSIs. That's how I got exposed to 90 as a software because we self-implemented EOS. If you've ever tried to self-implement, if you're listening, that's really hard. 90 is kind of EOS paint by numbers. It made it really easy for me to learn the methodology and figure it out. Became friends with Mark, who was our founder at 90, and decided that, hey, at some point, like I've built another lifestyle business, but it's not going to really scale and become the thing I want it to do. Software is infinitely scalable. I can learn a lot from Mark and the leadership team. So I decided to abandon that operation and join 90. That's the story.
And what year was that?
Gosh, it was almost 4 years ago. So what is that? Circa 2001 at this point. So kind of like end of pandemic, I made that switch, which was really fun.
Yeah. I went to EOS boot camp in August of 2020, which meant that it had to be virtual. That was 36 hours of Zoom in 3 days. Too much Zoom.
I remember my clients going through that same transition, like figuring out how do we go from a session room experience to a virtual experience. Yeah. Not everyone made it. That was a rough transition.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting part of our history. All right, so when friends and family ask you, what do you do for a living? How do you explain what it is you do?
I say I sell performance management software. If you boil down all the marketing fluff, that's really what 90 is. EOS is a business operating system or performance management system. If you are one of my buddies and you don't know what EOS is, you're not likely going to know. If I say I
Okay.
sell software for EOS, so performance management is the way I simplify it.
The story you told about getting a doctor to pay you to build a video asset. How in the moment you're how old?
I'm 19. I would tell 19-year-old Brandon to slow down and enjoy the ride. I remember being a lot of entrepreneurs feel this, Andrew. I'm sure you feel it or have felt it in your professional career. There's this sense of urgency, this burning desire to continue to push. And now that I'm a father and I'm a husband, my perspective has changed since I was 19. And I spent a lot of my youth being stressed by the pressurization I put on myself to achieve great things as quickly as possible. And I
Yeah.
never really enjoyed, my early 20s as much as I feel like I could have. So now that I'm in my late 30s, approaching 40, and I have family, and trying to slow down and really, appreciate the
Good
moment that
advice.
I'm in. Yeah.
Good advice. All right. So tell us, what's 90 up to? You and I obviously bumped into each other in May, bumped into each other again a couple weeks ago. Um, the software is well known for helping businesses that are running on EOS. But now the SEPA community is starting to be attracted to 90 as you're creating tools to better manage companies that are in that, um, in that process of value growth. Um, how do you see 90's technology supporting SEPAs in their work they're doing with their business owner clients?
Yeah. I mean, in when it comes to the context of SEPA and value acceleration, Andrew, you and I were talking in the green room before this. I mean, my team over the last, I don't know, year or so has spoken to over 1,000 SEPAs, right? And I, I can't tell you a single time that a SEPA has said working with an owner to get them to exit is easy. It is a, you're laughing. I can see you. You're laughing. It's a hard
Yeah,
journey, man.
welcome to my world. That's right.
It is a hard journey. It is technically complex. It is emotionally complex. And I hope we come back to the emotional part, Andrew, from the personal side here in a bit. But if I'm a SEPA and I'm taking clients on this technically emotionally complex journey, you're going to need a series of concepts, tools, and disciplines, many of which value acceleration provides. But you're going to need to package those up and deploy them in a way that makes it easy to work with your business owner and help them in three dimensions. Here, if I had to boil it down to three dimensions, here's what I think the real value of technology, that this is the role technology plays in helping the work you do.
Yeah.
It's really around fundamentally alignment in the back of your customer's mind. One of the things they're always asking is this working? Like, how do I know? When should I expect results? Are people doing, including you as the SEPA and the team you wrap around the owner, are people doing the things that I'm paying them to do? So part of that's alignment, part of it's visibility, answering that question like, what the hell's going on in this implementation that you're taking me through? Am I right where I need to be? So technology can provide that alignment and the visibility. And then the third part of that, Andrew, is really accountability. Our founder, Mark, at our all hands summit a few weeks ago, shared the stat that said, and I could be misquoting it, but something like 4% of CEOs actually trust that their people are doing the work that they're being paid to do. That means 96% of the market out there don't trust what's going on. So that sucks, but that's an opportunity for you using technology to help drive the accountability piece. Because every CEO that I've talked to is freaking the hell out about that. So again, technology is really around alignment, visibility, and accountability to get to, is this working and when should I expect results?
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. 90 is certainly great at that. Um, so let's back up into what you were talking about, the complexity that goes into um, the exit, right? The three-legged stool of the personal financial plan, the plan for the business, and then the personal plan. Um, how do you see 90 helping solve that complexity? Um, and maybe how does 90, when you start to track like the accountability and the transparency that you alluded to, man, that starts to shine a light in some corners of the business that I've had clients say, yeah, we know that's there. We just don't want to talk about it, right? How have you seen how have you seen 90 help business owners with the personal exit complexity? I don't, does that make sense?
It does. And I think to really paint that picture, Andrew, I'm a big fan of three, as you can tell. I think there's kind of three things that I think CPAs have to think about in my experience. Like one, 90 is a technology platform, and I'm going to come back to that last, but it's just the technology that powers the first part of this, which is really what is your methodology? What is the proven process or framework you're taking them through? And in this case, it's value acceleration. Value acceleration is a huge part of the magic. It has the proven concepts, tools, and disciplines. But like EOS, value acceleration it's pretty simple, and it's like when you actually take time to understand it, but it's not easy to actually implement and take clients through, right? So that segues nicely into the second part of the magic here, which is it is you. It is the SEPA advisor. I can't think of a role that's more like powerful for a SEPA than on the personal side of this. Because look, technology, AI, I'm sure we'll talk about AI later. That is like the rational, logical, quantifiable element of the decision making. But the personal, it's got to be, I mean, Andrew, you know more than me because you've done this work. It's got to be 90% emotional. And the value of you as the SEPA in that moment is you're going to help them through the shit. You're going to be in the room when they're making hard calls like, I got to fire my son. He's not the right person to lead this company post succession. Or my wife or my spouse has cancer. Like, I need to get out of the business because I want to spend my third act with the limited time I have with that person. Like, you're going to go through really hard stuff, and no technology is going to help you navigate that, but you as the human being will. And then so technology is how it's the packaging of the concepts, tools, and disciplines that helps the leadership team and the SEPA advisor. It puts it front and center. So everything you need to work with your client to take them, pull them through is there. So it's a combination of those three things, I think.
Excellent. Now, how about exit planning is inherently kind of a team sport, right? You're, as the value growth advisor or the quarterback, you're including the estate planning attorney, you're including the financial advisor, you're including the CPA, sometimes that family business coach. You're doing all those things. How does the 90 software support that? How does it facilitate the collaboration between those different players at the table?
Yeah, really great question, Andrew. So inside of 90, without getting too technical, because you're not seeing the software, but
Right.
90 is a very team-based platform. So
Okay.
the advisory team would exist inside of your client's 90 environment. And you often will create a team called the advisory team. So this
Okay.
could be your quarterback, this could be your CPA, your attorney, all of the advisory services you're wrapping around
Excellent.
your owner. And
Yeah.
it's a private team for the advisors to showcase their issues. What's on your mind? What are problems that you're seeing? You can go look at the data in the organization and talk about it privately and confidentially inside the client. The whole value here is you're getting proactive insights into what's happening because your client's not seeing this stuff. It's hard to read the label when you're in the bottle, but when you're in the environment in a private team, you can look at the rocks, you can look at the data, you can look at the meeting and team health, you can see what's been documented or what hasn't. You can look at the business plan and talk about it privately as a team. So when you come at your client, you're aligned. Again, this goes back to that alignment piece, like in the accountability piece. Your client starts to feel a lot of peace of mind. Like, man, this team is a well-oiled machine because 90 surface the insights for you inside of your private team.
So that accountability element we were talking about earlier, with only 4% of CEOs trusting that people are really doing or really aligned and bought into what they're doing. Um, you know, one of the things that entrepreneurs are famous for is we set out on a plan, and by Wednesday, the entrepreneur has gone a different direction, right? How does 90, uh, how does how does 90 keep everybody aligned? What are the tools we use to keep to help a SEPA once we set off on that roadmap? Once we create that VTO as an example, and you see an entrepreneur buy in and shake their head yes and say, that's what I want to do. How does the software help keep the owner, not just the team, aligned and accountable?
Yeah, in my experience, both so 90, we run our organization on our software. We are, we're venture backed, we're Series B, like, we're building an asset, right? Like we're trying to increase enterprise value. And I've talked to lots of CEPAs. So really that accountability piece happens in your operating rhythm, i.e. your meetings. So if you've truly done your plan, like you have your 90-day world lined up and that maps back to kind of your 1 year plan and your 3 to 5 year plan, you would likely have rocks. So rocks are those important, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So let's stay focused on the things that move the needle for the business. The leadership team typically has anywhere from 1 to 3 rocks. If you're crazy, you can have 5 rocks, although I don't recommend it. But these are the things that we have to get done. And you review these as a team in your weekly meeting rhythm. So every week, I'm guessing that if the owner is in a weekly senior leadership team meeting with or without the advisor, you should be looking at those rocks. And that's helping you understand, is it on track or off track? It's very simple, or it's done. That's one of 3 things, right?
I love what you shared earlier about having the advisor team within the software that allows the advisors to kind of sit on the outside looking in and watch the business performance. As an EOSI, I had more than my fair share of visionary leaders who would nod yes at the end of the quarterly and everybody was happy and this is our direction. And then I'd get a call from somebody on the team that says, hey, can you call Jeff because it's just been 2 weeks and everything's on fire again. And I love that idea of the advisory team having a separate internal team using the software. That's really powerful to me.
Yeah, and keep in mind that, again, in the world of concepts, tools, and disciplines, it's really the value acceleration is the concept and it has the discipline. But it's really the SEPA advisor team that's helping teach and continually reinforce that discipline. So much of what you're about to do when you take a client through value acceleration, the hardest part is behavioral change. Some of these owners, if they've been a family-owned business and they've ran it for 40 years, bro, you have to retrain their mental model for how they run their business. So they're running it in a way where you could package up the business and have the data, all of the stuff, right? Kind of in the prepare gate.
So true.
And that magic comes from the advisory team. The software is just the piece that's collecting and curating the data and putting it in front of you all so you can work with the leadership team to do the right thing and spot problems early.
And speaking of spotting problems early, obviously, um, in fourth quarter of 2025, we live in a world where if your article doesn't use the letters AI in it, you're going to have a hard time getting people to read it. And it is all the rage. And there is a lot of data around there out there as to what percentage of businesses are actually using AI to move the needle, right? That there's having it and everybody knowing, man, we got to do this, and we're all starting to use AI in our own way to make ourselves more productive. What kind of tools has 90 implemented? What kind of things does how have you empowered AI within the software to help clients?
Yeah, great question. We have been developing, gosh, probably over the last 18 months, been developing our own internal AI tool called MAS, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is our founder.
Yeah.
Our founder, Mark, is a big hair on fire visionary, thinks 20 years out. He's like a mad genius. So MAS is his baby. Right now, we've it's generally available. You can use MAS today to do things like create rocks. So when you go to create a rock, because believe it or not, like when we look at our feature utilization, creating a rock isn't, in making it smart, like doing it right, it's not an easy thing. And a lot of business leaders don't do it because it takes so much time. So the idea behind AI is how do we make this easier and more efficient so you can actually create rocks that are correctly smart with the right milestones. So you can do that today in mass. You could go and
Wow,
it
that's
will
powerful.
walk you through a prompt. I wouldn't say like a SEPA exactly or like an EOS implementer, but it walks you through a proven set of questions to get to, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. So that's how it's getting the smart. And then at the end, after it takes you through the prompts, it creates the rock. It's all scoped out, and it even has the milestones based off of the due date in the timely section. And it like I created my rocks from our last quarterly in 10 minutes, right? Like it's super powerful. So that's available today. Maz is also looking at your meetings. So it's saying, hey, Andrew, here's what you guys talked about last time in your meetings. Here are the to-dos that looks like you got done and what didn't get done. So it's helping you prepare for your next meeting before the meeting, right? So you actually have, there's so much,
Powerful. That's awesome.
there's so much wastage. I saw a report that said the average company burns $6,000 per employee per year in unproductive or unnecessary meetings. So anything you can do to make meetings more effective through frameworks like EOS or value acceleration, talk to your CFO. Like you're going to save them $6,000 per employee per year. Like there's value right there.
That's
Yeah.
cool. All right, so um, I used to talk to Mark O'Donnell and other folks on the leadership team at EOS, and I would say, hey, listen, um, EOS Worldwide has this data, and the data that you have is when a business starts on the EOS journey, we know what industry that business is in, and we know what their profitability is in the moment. And so you can, without a ton of work, you can extrapolate to what the valuation is on that day. And one of the promises you make on focus day as an implementer, you tell the business owner and the leadership team, number one, we're going to leave you in greater control of the business. And number two, we're going to increase the value in the business. Okay. So I used to always ask Mark, I'm like, hey, you have this data. You know where people are profitability wise when they start. You know what their industry is, so we can back into a rough valuation. And then where are they in 2 years? And I think 90 has this same data, right? So I haven't looked at the software recently. Are you helping people running on 90 think about valuation and think about valuation growth? Because the software certainly could give them those answers, right? So the value acceleration methodology, how does the software support that and give people, again, it's a rough estimate. It doesn't take the place of a business valuation, but it gives you a pretty good speedometer, right? How does the software do that today?
Well, it's like you're in our product roadmap meetings, Andrew. In full transparency, we don't have that capability today. So just like EOS has kind of six key components, we have what we call 9 core competencies. This is kind of a principle of how 90 operates. And
Yeah.
exit is one of those. I would say of all of the areas of our business that we've yet to develop, that's probably the softest. Because as a software company, we've agreed that it's part of our SMAC, how we make decisions, that we have to build features that apply to 80% of our user base or more. So this definitely would apply to 80 because everyone's going to exit, right?
Everyone's
Like
got to exit. That's
whether you
right.
want to or not. But we just haven't built those things yet. I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have, Andrew, in the market. We've partnered with Capitalize because we're trying to explore what's the commercial appetite, right?
Yes.
Of
Yeah, that
having
makes sense.
a valuation product in market. So I think before we went gangbusters and pulled away, because that would just frankly, it would take resource away from some of our other AI build we have to go do. That's a long-winded way of saying not today, but it's on our roadmap. We are exploring, do we partner with Capitalize and some other valuation softwares that do a great job of that today? And how do we just integrate and pull that data seamlessly into our platform versus us going and developing product around it? That's the that's the answer right now. That's the truth. I
Good
know.
answer.
I
That's a good
understand.
fair answer. So the back to the three legs of the stool. that EPI teaches us all, the personal and financial readiness. I can see on 90's going to shine some big, bright spotlights on the financial readiness element in terms of what the business can provide. Where do you think how can software help people with the personal readiness side of it? Um, if you think about, it feels to me, and again, my bias perhaps, but I feel like maybe that leg of the stool is uh, so personal and um, requires emotional intelligence to get there with a client. Um, where do you see what's the future of software as it relates to helping people answer the personal readiness question?
Yeah, I think on the personal readiness side, if I think about what 90 realistically does today, um, I think there's a huge value in properly documenting your personal plan. Like what is your vision for the next chapter, the next act of your life with your family post transition? Like going from thinking about it and having it be on a whiteboard nebulously to actually packaged up in a software that can be shared with your significant others and your loved ones, so everyone's on the same page and everyone can weigh in and collaborate. I think and you could do this in the software today. So it's a powerful tool. You can use our vision tool to create a personal plan. The other thing I think about too is in the two congruent paths in value acceleration, right? You have business and financial and you have the personal. You're still setting up rocks, right? Like for your personal side, like you're going to set up
Well said.
personal rocks every
Absolutely.
90 days. And I think what's special about this is I find that owners don't actually own a lot of rocks in when you're working on the business financial, but baby, you own all of them on the personal side because it's you.
That's right.
And when you have those rocks documented, it drives accountability for yourself and it helps give visibility into what the SEPA is going to have to pull them through, right? So having
That's
that
really,
documented, having those rocks clearly defined and scoped and smart helps drive accountability for everybody.
that's
And look,
great.
I think there's probably KPIs like just around. I'm making this up, Andrew. You probably know this better than I do, but KPIs like value creation. If you know that, hey, I have 2 years and I've got to drive my EBITDA up by $1.5 million, like I think every 90 days, if you see that KPI going in the right direction, that brings you peace of mind as you go through this emotionally complex thing. So I'm sure there's a handful of KPIs that you could surface in those one-on-one meetings as you work through the personal side of the stool.
Love it. Well said. Well said. All right. So, uh, as we wrap up here, 90 has been in the SEPA community. You guys were kind of early in and realized, hey, while originally it was an EOS focused software, that now, man, there's so much is happening in the SEPA community. How do you think? Uh, how does software and technology begin to reshape the way SEPAs are delivering value? And as you guys are engaging with more SEPAs, just the things you've told us today, I'm having some aha moments. How is 90 helping to foster, say, what the next 3 to 5 years hold in the SEPA community?
Yeah, I mean, I would be remiss not to say AI is going to play a huge part. Um, AI is going to help synthesize data and recommendations. So, like the logical, data driven part of the exit planning is going to be way more streamlined and way more efficient over time. We will figure out some sort of valuation solution, whether it's through partnerships or we build. So that will, again, we're pulling forward and accelerating all the logical data part of this. And I hope along the way, especially on the personal side, Andrew, I haven't seen this in our product roadmap, but just knowing what I know, I hope that we will continue to develop tools and insights that help you have those hard emotional conversations and surface issues. One of the things AI will do in the near future is it's going to analyze your issues lists across one team or multiple teams, and it's going
Awesome.
to say,
Yeah.
hey, there is this theme of distrust or divorce or whatever it may be. Like there's this theme that your owner isn't leaning into, and we're just going to surface the technology is going to surface the insights, but the SEPA is still going to have to do the really hard thing that, frankly, they're paid to do, which is untangle that mess and pull them
Enter the
through it.
danger, right, man? Enter the danger. You got to go there. Awesome.
So yeah, I think it's really going to be about efficiency, speed to impact, surfacing insights. So you're not cold starting every meeting. You're coming in prepped. The tool is going to send you emails before. It's going to know your meetings with your clients, and it's going to email you things it's recommending you talk about, or patterns or problems it's seeing. It's going to get really advanced. And in our 17,000 customers, in 5 years, 3 to 5 years, if that's your time frame, I mean, we're going to have lots more. So we're going to have aggregate data across all of our customer bases, and we're going to surface that. MAS is going to be kind of the central brain that's synthesizing that per industry, per scenario, per employee count. It's going to be surfacing you really relevant in-context data.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate the insights that you shared. Love what you guys are doing. As always, we'll look forward to talking to you again in the near future, and appreciate your insight today. Thank you.
Yeah. Pleasure to be here. Thanks, Andrew.
If you're interested in learning more about what you heard, including learning more about becoming a SecondWave advisor, please use the link in the description to visit the website, and you can receive the first few chapters of the book for free.